Welcome to the Holley Hub. Here's our 2 cents on current events.
Welcome back to the Holley Hub. I'm your host, Elijah Bibby.
And I'm co-host Daniel Norman.
And this is The Beat.
Starting off, we're going to be talking about the wildfires in California. Firefighters in Southern California have a brand new blaze to battle. The Sierra fire sparked up overnight and is burning through about 20 acres east of Los Angeles County. But there's some good news. The firefight may not be as rough as with other blazes because forecasters predict that swirling winds have fueled the fires and will begin to slowly decrease, with variable conditions over the last couple of days.
The weather outside is frightful and the fires are not so delightful, as the fires in California are now the deadliest fires recorded in Cali's history. As of now, the statewide death toll stands at more than 77 in the northern part of the state by the campfire, while 2 have died in the Woolsey fire in Southern California. Officials fear the number will rise as search teams comb through rubble and ashes in the town of Paradise, which was wiped out by the campfire.
Wow, Eli, that's crazy.
Yeah.
California officials are still unsure about how or what started the fires. It's just been a hellish time in California. In the past week, more than 230,000 acres have burned, more area than Chicago and Boston combined. And in the past 30 days, firefighters have battled more than 500 blazes in Cali.
Authorities are attempting to track down more than 130 people that have been reported missing. More than 400 people and 22 dogs are still searching for those that are missing. Officials say the blaze won't be put out fully until November 30th.
Our next topic is midterm elections. It's been almost 2 weeks since midterm elections and results are still coming in. Ready to update your scorecards? Here are the big ones. In Florida, Democratic Senator Bill Nelson conceded the Senate race to Republican Gov. Rick Scott yesterday after a statewide recount. In Georgia, Democrat Stacey Abrams has recognized Georgia Secretary of State Brian Kemp as the winner of the state's election for governor, but has not conceded per se. Instead, she told CNN's Jake Tapper that Kemp will be the legal governor, but not necessarily a legitimate one.
In California, a whole mess of Democrats picked up official House wins over the weekend. Gil Cisneros has defended Young Kim for a House seat representing Cali's racial diverse 39th constitutional district, which was previously held by retiring Republican Mike Levin, defeated Republican Diane Harkey to represent the 49th district, and Harley Randa defeated incumbent Representative Dana Bracharber, who has held the 48th congressional district for nearly 30 years.
Iconic man Stan Lee on Monday, November 12th, at age 95, died in Los Angeles, California. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, a slew of movies based on his characters have made nearly $18 billion over the past decade.
Hollywood heavyweights who brought Lee's character to life, like Robert Downey Jr. and Hugh Jackman, paid tribute. We all can look forward to Lee's final film cameo, probably in the upcoming Avengers 4.
Alright, our next topic is war strategy. Could the U.S. lose a war against China or Russia? It might, according to a new report from a bunch of military experts. The report warns that Trump's new administration national defense strategy does not have enough resources, which puts the country at a greater risk of losing a military conflict with the Chinese or Russians. And the last thing we want our country is to be picking a fight we cannot win.
Meantime, the administration is thinking about a cut to the defense budget to help deal with the ballooning federal deficit. But the report warns that Russia and China are bolstering their own military capabilities, possibly putting the U.S. military in a situation where it would suffer high casualties and struggle to win or perhaps lose a war.
As it is still too early to be listening or singing Christmas tunes, the weather is changing and changing fast. Leaves and snow is falling, and Thanksgiving is right around the corner. We might be looking at Thanksgiving as snow, lots of snow. As snow is expected to continue falling for the next few days, we might be looking at ground cover by the time Thanksgiving.
Alright, next up we have a Mexico death. Questions surrounding the disappearance of North Carolina teacher in Mexico last month appear to have gotten a tragic answer. According to a post on the verified Facebook page of the governor of Chihuahua, Patrick Braxton Andrew, 34, was killed by a drug dealer from the Sinaloa cartel while out for a walk.
A Facebook page set up to find Braxton Andrew said that the state authorities have confirmed the death. Braxton Andrew disappeared October 28th after leaving his hotel in Eureka.
Thanks for tuning in to the Holley Hub. I'm your host, Elijah Bibby.
And I'm your co-host, Daniel Norman.
And this has been The Beat.
You know what really grinds my gears?
Hi, I'm Jake Peters.
And I'm Jordan Grind.
And
welcome to Grinds My Gears.
It's Alright, and on this episode we're going to be talking about a ton of things, mostly imbeciles again.
Oh, again?
Again.
Repetitive much?
For the first topic, we're going to talk about kids walking through your class and interrupting it. Basically when they just
walk through.
Yeah, disregard teachers and and it's worse in the labs because it's like a
216,
walkway.
yeah,
because people just walk right through and the teachers too. It's just like disrespectful to the teachers. They're trying to do their class and they have their entire class paying attention, and then you walk through and disrupt the entire flow of what they've been doing. But it's kind of scummy, in my opinion. You have anything you want to talk about?
No, it's like you said, it's pretty disrespectful.
Pretty disrespectful, yeah.
Next.
Hypocrites. It personally just me. This is just no. Well, I mean, I guess the show is.
We're all kind of hypocrites,
yeah,
so.
But it really gets me because I guess this is my show for what grinds my gears. But this is probably the worst. Yeah, it is my show. I'm taking your last name, buddy. But if you're just a hypocrite, it's like the double standard too. Not just being a hypocrite. It's if you have like a double standard, like you pick favorites. It just in my head just makes me angry because you shouldn't do that. It just is backwards and broken, and I've just had so many experiences where people are hypocrites, and it grinds my gears. What can I say? Yeah.
There's got to be more than just picking favorites, though.
Yeah, it's just I don't know, just picking topics.
Everything hypocritical bothers you.
Just going backwards on yourself, But yeah, next we're gonna talk about scammers.
Scammers, oh boy, we already talked about telemarketers in the last episode.
Yeah,
that's kind of.
Yeah, I mean they're just more annoying. But when you get into scammers,
there's more.
Scammers are people who
just try and get money off you.
It's terrible. The Ugandan princesses emails
wow.
that you get. Yeah, there's this one episode of The Office where they talk about Michael Scott owns benefits 30 Ugandan princesses, and it's basically a joke at this point. How awful they are, and there are telephone scammers. That.
But there's also physical scammers, on eBay or something.
eBay, even people who own stores, they will scam.
Oh yeah.
It's not just back end people, and
especially when people up the price on an item that just came out or something like that. There's also that.
Yeah.
Next.
Terrorism.
Oh, terrorism.
This is more of a morbid topic, so I don't think it should be as much upbeat, but. It's the world that we live in, to be honest. Terrorism, it's just awful. Getting innocent people involved in something that they really have nothing to do with. It doesn't really improve your cause at all. It just makes you seem more like a horrible person, you know what I mean?
Just like the terrorist attacks on 9/11.
Yes.
Like, that was innocent people. Like, they had nothing.
Instantly dead.
Yeah.
I mean, families
Torn apart just because of that.
And being, like, put through that, not even as the victim, it's just being, like, put through as your person. Or, like, your family members and stuff. It's just, and even a bystander, just seeing that happen, like...
that sticks with them forever. It's like, that's an image that'll always be in their head.
And, like, teachers here who work here, like, they will always tell you, every September 11th...
they remember it, seeing it on the television. And
going into Mr. Crispin's room, they always talk about it.
Everybody. No, they have to see this.
Yeah. But yeah, let's move on to something less morbid.
Serious, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, tests are still pretty serious, you know? They're something that you have to deal with. I hate them, personally. It's just...
Especially Regents exams.
Oh my gosh. I remember 5th grade, I cried because of the New York State test. I, like, full-on cried.
Why?
I don't know. I was just so scared.
Those were state tests?
Yeah, I mean, everything, man. Like, Regents are probably... I'm not even as bad anymore. I feel like I grew out of it, but my first Regents test, I was very nervous about. But then I did really good on it, and from then I just haven't really had a problem with it.
I think the best thing in the world is that curve, man.
Yeah.
When it's always a good curve, oh, man. Mm-hmm. It just saves all of us.
Yeah, definitely. The algebra curve and everything else was... It was insane, but...
The earth science curve saved my butt.
Yeah. I did really well on the earth science test, so that didn't really bother me. But for the last topic, we're gonna... This is more of a specific thing. Like, in-game microtransactions. So if you, like, pay to win, you know what I mean? If you pay... all sorts of money just to have that little edge on you compared to people who spend the time, hours, days. An effort, yes, to
most importantly,
be good in the game. When you can just open your wallet. Oh, hey, look, I'm better than you. You know what I mean? It's just annoying. I think so.
Could you maybe give a good example of it?
Star Wars, Battlefront 1 and 2.
Nice. Those are great examples.
I mean, but then you get into, like, less bad ones that are cosmetic, and I know you yourself are a huge fan of
Why are you
buying
saying
Fortnite
this right
skins.
Now? Fortnite? What are you talking about?
You know what I'm talking about, Jordan. Raven. But yeah, that's another topic that
I'm ashamed.
We probably shouldn't get into. But yeah, this has been this episode of Grind My Gears. I'm Jake Peters.
And I'm Jordan Grind. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to the Wings. Today we have something special for you. We're not going to be debating any politics, but instead we're going to be debating what's on your plate for Thanksgiving. Alright, to start us off, mashed potatoes or no mashed potatoes?
No mashed potatoes, they're disgusting.
Is that even a question? Madison.
They're disgusting.
Madison, you need mashed potatoes in your life.
You don't. It's just like you don't need gravy in your life.
You definitely,
Take that back.
I think those are definitely both staples of a Thanksgiving
You need
plate.
the gravy.
No.
Yes, you do. You get all your food. You get your turkey. You get your mashed potatoes.
Ew.
You get your sweet potato. Even your sweet potatoes.
I like sweet potatoes.
Cranberries.
I like sweet potatoes, but I don't like regular mashed potatoes.
And then you pour the gravy all over it.
No.
Eating a Thanksgiving dinner without mashed potatoes is like eating cereal without milk.
That's just
That's
not
disgusting.
true. That's just not
sad.
true.
No,
It is.
It's the truth.
No.
Yeah. Yes.
That's not the real tea, okay?
Okay, next topic.
Oh, that was lame.
Somebody say tea? Alright, so the next topic.
Crossover episode? Question mark.
Dark meat or white meat?
White meat.
Dark meat all the way.
Dark meat is much better. It's much juicier. It's softer. It's just an all-around better
I'm
experience.
just by myself, guys. Thanks.
Oh yeah, you put the gravy on that too.
No.
Yes.
Absolutely.
No, like
Gravy is
the
a
dark
staple.
meat is disgusting.
You don't like the drums? With
Maddie,
the
you
leg?
just hurt me.
No.
I am personally
It's the best part.
hurt.
No. Alright, but rolls are no rolls. Or was it rolls or biscuits?
Yeah.
Rolls.
Biscuits or rolls?
Rolls for
Rolls. You heathen, Mike.
We've come to a wings consensus. Rolls are better than biscuits.
Exactly.
Have we though?
I think we have, Greg. I
Okay.
Greg, you're by yourself.
Greg, you're by yourself.
Greg, you're not on.
Greg
Well, I'm the moderator, so I'm not supposed to talk
He
about this.
personally likes
Exactly.
crumpets himself.
Take that back. All right. Our next topic will be what dessert is best. Take it away.
Pumpkin pie is the superior dessert on
Apple
Thanksgiving.
pie. Those little crumblies on top of that apple pie.
But
With whipped cream.
I like
on
the
pumpkin
chocolate
pie?
Listen, I'm not.
That's cheating.
Greg, you're gonna have to
it's so
accentuate on
Yes,
that.
we all agree.
Listen, I'm not denying chocolate pie's nasty. I'm not denying.
Maddie's just calling the shots out. She's destroying my life.
Listen, I'm not denying that pumpkin pie is great because it is, but I just prefer
Because it
a nice
is. It is
warm
great.
slice of apple pie with some whipped cream and maybe a little scoop of ice cream on the side.
What is
for
wrong with
Thanksgiving.
you?
I mean, I can
Nothing
respect
wrong.
that opinion of pumpkin pie. If done correctly, is definitely better.
No.
Does anyone have any third-party desserts?
Nah, pumpkin pie is great.
We used to
My
get sugar
dude.
Chocolate
cookies.
pie.
No.
No one's disagreeing with you there, Aubrey.
See,
I mean, I
It-
am.
it's the best.
They're
I
both
am.
equally as
I'm
great.
disagreeing.
Madison.
What else is there on Thanksgiving? Oh, do you guys have vegetables with your Thanksgiving dinner?
Oh,
Absolutely
Yeah, green bean
not.
casserole.
What? How do you not have like broccoli or corn?
Broccoli.
Corn.
Yeah, maybe corn.
Corn.
That's
Green
about
bean
it.
casserole.
That's
green
about
bean
it. It's
casserole.
corn.
Ew, green beans are nasty.
Yeah, they are.
All right. So what do you guys think about squash?
Ew.
Ew.
That's a no from me,
No
Chief.
thanks.
Chief just called. That's
Abri.
not it.
Aubrey's got a weird look on her face.
Well, I don't like it when it's all mixed up and like gross. My dad cooks it like on the grill.
So kind of like what you did with your lunch.
No comment.
No comment.
Roast. Low-key roast.
Okay, this one sucked.
Wait. What's our preferred drink? Say that.
All right. So what do you guys prefer to drink?
I just drink like Pepsi or something.
Milk.
Milk.
No
Pepsi.
Yeah. I don't know. There's not like a designated
Chocolate milk.
Thanksgiving
At
drink.
Thanksgiving?
Or apple cider, yeah.
Mike?
Get
Sparkling
that, like,
grape
the
juice,
fancy,
obviously,
yeah, this
man.
fancy sparkling grape
Oh
juice.
yeah, this fancy sparkling grape juice is pretty smack.
Yeah.
Mike's got a good point there. What, Joel?
That's
do you?
a no from me.
What?
Definitely water or milk. Water or milk.
All right. So that was the wings for today's folks.
That was
Have a
so
happy
wings.
Thanksgiving.
That was so.
Welcome to Tea Time with Greg. Sit back and soak it all in. Hi, welcome to Tea Time with Greg. Today we have Mr. DeMuro, the man who started this all. So, Mr. DeMuro, how long have you been a teacher?
First of all, Greg, thanks for having me on. I have to say that compared to the last two guests, I do not feel up to the task of Mr. The height of Mr. Barlow, Mr. Heiss. They're truly giants in the community, and hopefully I can do the show justice. I'm looking at the tea right now. I'm getting a little scared to drink after last experience on Twitter, but thank you. So yeah, I've been a teacher for about 6 years. I graduated in 2013 from college. It was a dream of mine wanting to be a teacher. I won't go into that too deeply because I know the questions you have probably go into it. But I graduated college 2013 at 21 years old, so that's even like a younger, I had that early birthday. Those November birthdays back you up sometimes. You're 17, you graduate high school, 21, you graduate college. So I was 21 when I graduated, got an interview at Holley, first interview. I thank Mrs. Corey all the time for taking a chance on a young 21-year-old. But I'm very, very thankful for that. And I've been here ever since. I'd like to stay here for as long as I can, God willing. So yeah, I've been here 6 years, and it's been a wonderful ride. My parents actually didn't want me to be a teacher because they thought I would have to get they thought I'd have to move away to get a job in a different state because at that time, it was a very competitive job market for teachers, which has really changed now. It's not as competitive as it used to be, which is different than anything I've ever seen since I was a young man. A young man was like, don't be a teacher, there's too many. And I went in anyways because I'm stubborn, and then now it turns out there's a shortage. So we're in a pretty interesting spot as a profession, I guess, especially in New York State.
So what classes do you teach?
Well, I've been fortunate enough to have you in all of the classes I'm about to list at some point or the other. So I teach 8th grade social studies. That's kind of like my core class, which is amazing here in a district like this because you get to see students come in past you and then you watch them grow up. And you have everybody in social studies. Science and math can be different. You have everybody in social studies and English. So last year was the first year I had where I knew, with the exception of the 7th graders, I knew every student in the school. Well, I say we're new from 12 to 8th, which is like really cool. You don't get that in a larger district. I teach 8th grade social studies, current events, which is where we're at now. This is the class we're living in. I had that elected my first year, got cycled out last year, now it's back. We've paired it with contemporary issues, kind of, as sort of a different direction. And last year we did the World Wars, which was just a big hit. It was a really fun class. And next year we're looking at some different electives too. Don't want to let the cat out of the bag because we don't know what we're going to offer yet, but that genocide course that everybody's been
Sorry to miss that.
kind of wanting is looking like it might come into the rotation, so we will see. So I'm very thankful I work in a place where they allow our department the freedom to do that and offer the courses to the students. I mean, not every school even allow their class to do a podcast like we do. So we're very fortunate here, and I'm very, very thankful for that.
Right. So what inspired you to become a teacher?
Long or short version?
Whatever you feel gives it justice.
All right, I'll do my best to keep it decent time. The first reason is I've loved history ever since I was a kid, and that I have to credit to my family. My old man would read me like stories as a kid, tell me stories on the campfire, and just I fell in love with it right away. My grandmother, we'd watch all sorts of history movies, ever since I was a kid. Albeit not very accurate movies. As I got older, I figured out the Patriot didn't happen and then go down that way.
Pearl Harbor.
Gladiator, Pearl Harbor, you know what I mean? But these are still movies that as a kid inspired me. And so a lot of them have a soft place in my heart, like Last of the Mohicans. Completely inaccurate, but it still has a soft spot in my heart, and it always will. And I think the teaching aspect has to do with helping people. I've always been attached to building relationships with people, and just having like a good group of people around me, and having people that I can connect with. And I think that was why because teaching is the business of people. I don't know if that makes sense. It's the business of dealing with people and getting to know people and building relationships and using those relationships to help people learn. And without that, I don't think teaching and learning really happens. I don't think education happens. So my family was really one of the biggest reasons to become a teacher. And then I had some great teachers. I had Mr. Lazonis in 10th grade global. Mr. Lazonis was the man. And what inspired me the most about him was, and you couldn't find two completely more opposite people. He was like a swimmer. Tall, lean guy. I'm a football player, and we used to pick on each other all the time. We still do, if I ever see him. But what impressed me the most was he taught like a college course. He knew so much. He was the master of the content, and that impressed me. Now that doesn't necessarily make people a great teacher, but he also built relationships with students. So that's what also made him great. Mr. Catterley I had in 8th grade social studies, which is what I teach now. And Mr. Catterley also, I sent him an email actually when I started student teaching. I sent him an email, let him know how much he meant to me. So I had some great teachers. I had in 9th grade I had Mrs. Townsend. She was awesome. In 11th grade I had Mrs. Deanna. She was also awesome. And then I had who was the other one? Mrs. Roteris, 12th grade. So she was great too. So yeah, I had some great teachers.
Okay. So what do you think is the hardest part of being a teacher?
Hardest part about being a teacher is letting go and learning to trust your students. That's this simple. I mean, we're doing a podcast right here that you guys are basically running.
Right.
It's kind of terrifying to build a toy and then give it to somebody else to do something with. If you think about it, what's something you're passionate about, Greg?
I would have to say reenacting.
I'm flipping the interview here, right? So imagine you just gave all that stuff that you worked real hard for and let somebody else kind of take it out and play with it.
Yeah, that would be hard to do.
It's kind of a scary thought, but in a way it's beautiful, right? Because somebody else gets to have the enjoyment and the feeling that you had that somebody else gave to you. And when you feel that, it's unbelievable. And that's why teaching is the greatest profession. I mean, it's terrifying at times, no doubt, terrifying. But when you see students fly, there's no better moment. So I think letting go sometimes, allowing to trust your students and let them sort of take the reins is the hardest part. But it's the most fun too, so it's kind of a catch.
Were there any other professions that you considered, other than teaching, that is?
Paleontologist when I was real little, because I love Jurassic Park.
Yeah, our 5-year-old dreams never work out, do they?
No, they don't. Politics, I dabble with that a little bit. I worked in politics. And then just being some kind of historian was also something I thought about too. So
okay.
It's been a little bit of a journey there.
What's one of your favorite memories as a teacher so far?
One of my favorite memories. I have two. I thought about this for a long time, looked at the questions, but giving the commencement speech last year was an honor. That was so cool to watch my first class go off, and kids that I learned with, that they helped me learn about teaching. I sort of grew with them as a teacher, and I was very close to that class. I do miss them quite a bit. And then Angie Weaver, a student who graduated last year, winning sectionals in shot put last year was an incredible moment. She just missed it the year before. She won the conference the year before. Came out the following season, didn't win the conference. Coaching varsity track, by the way, shot put. Don't think I mentioned that, but. And she came out last year at sectionals, and she wasn't having the season she wanted, then came out had the meet of her life. So that was also one of my favorite moments, too, as a teacher, if I had to pick two, I guess.
So right now, there's what do you think about the common perception of education in America today?
When you put this question down, I had to think about it, and I hope we can have a dialogue about this, because I think many times you see these videos where people think that school doesn't work, or it's not meaningful, or it's not useful, and these are people who usually don't live within the walls of education. And teaching is one of those professions where it seems like everybody has an idea about how everybody learns, and so with all these ideas, everybody's throwing them out there. I think the best methods get lost a lot of times. And so I think the common perception right now of education in America is that it's broken or it doesn't work. And I don't think that's true at all. I think that there's a lot of things wrong with the system maybe, but I think that there's answers. And just one quick example. How do we assess student learning? I'll ask you, how do we assess student learning?
Standardized tests.
Standardized tests, right? Okay.
Yeah.
We know for a fact through evidence-based practices, everything says that A, that's not the best measure of student knowledge, and B, that students don't learn in a quiet, sit-down environment. Most students don't learn the best that way.
Right.
Most students learn the best through discussion, active participation. Sometimes it's through things like music, but there's a variety of ways. So as a good instruction, as a good teaching, isn't sitting down, being quiet, doing one thing, but yet we assess students that way. So there's a big disconnect, right, of how we teach students, which is supposed to be active, good instruction, but yet we don't assess them with active methods. We assess them through standardized, square, peg, round, hole, sometimes assessments. So, but on the flip side, it's the world we live in, testing. So we do prepare our students as best we can for those tests still. So
Okay.
yeah, it's a weird perception, I think.
So if there was one thing that you wanted people to know about the education in America, what would it be?
Well, I kind of took this question as if there's one thing I want people to know about education. I think it would be that it's the key to success in life. Now, that's not necessarily like opening a textbook and learning. It's not necessarily learning about, math, social studies, or science. That could be about your Womoco stuff, which is amazing, like welding and mechanics. But somewhere along the line, you're going to have to learn something to do something in your life. People learn every day. A 2-year-old touches a hot stove, that you're learning. Okay, you're not going to do that again. People learn something every day. Excuse me. So learning is very important, and I hope people value it for that. And learning to also be successful, but also learning to build relationships, learning to, how to apologize, learning how to be a better friend, a better person. Those things, how to be just a good companion. School is a place where all these things you learn. Sometimes it's not in the most formal way. Sometimes it's extremely informal. And you can learn to overcome things too. Life is going to knock you down. And you learn to overcome things and do things that you don't think you can do. Certainly in college, I think that was something that I was faced with more. I had kind of an easier time in high school, but college kind of taught me that I wasn't as smart as I thought, and I had to learn to work, and things didn't come as easy as I thought they could. And the last thing I think is that motivation is the key. Sometimes we need to find how to motivate ourselves for things that we don't want to do. I don't know if that makes sense.
Right.
Like something you absolutely don't want to do, you learn to motivate yourself to get through it. And it's like when you got to work out or run or do a workout. And
right.
Like cross country, right? You do cross country, right? Like I don't want to go on that run, but you get through it and you're like, oh, okay. And you appreciate the grind. You don't have to love working at things you don't like, but you have to appreciate, I think, what it does for you. And I think that's a big piece of education that people miss. That if you desire to learn, if you want to learn, I think that everyone can.
Okay. So I think we've kind of run out of questions here.
Yeah, you've worked through just about everything. We got to be close to time.
Yeah,
probably,
we do.
Right?
Yeah.
How we doing, Cody?
About 12-15.
Okay, not bad. Not bad.
All right.
We even got Cody in on the interview there.
Yeah, right. No, got Cody. So, all right. Thank you very much for coming in today.
I mean, I am the teacher of your class. I would hope I would be here.
Yeah.
But
well, you know what I mean.
I know.
Into the interview being so difficult.
Well, is there anything we didn't get to that you wanted to get to, or can we hit this tea up?
I think we should try the tea now.
All right. How do you pronounce this tea?
I'm
gonna let Cody take the video of the lot because we did the last video we did on Twitter was a big hit. We had like over almost 400 something views, I think.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, so
Popular.
I think we should do a live tea. So I'm gonna give this to Cody here to record.
Yeah, you definitely want to take the tea bag out.
Yeah, I did. It's probably gonna be really, really strong.
Really
now.
strong.
All right, what tea are we drinking, Greg?
Common knowledge says it's pronounced rooibos.
Rooibos?
Yeah, I've seen like 1,000 different pronunciations of it though. So.
Okay, so it's a South African tea, right?
Yes, it is an African tea. It's supposed to have a lot of health benefits, including high blood pressure, which is great for kids in high school.
Stressed out?
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, it's all right. You know, week before Thanksgiving, they hand out 3 projects. It's awesome.
You'll be okay.
Yeah.
Just like what I said, getting through things you didn't think you could do.
Right. Yeah.
So it's medicinal. So I listen. Mr. Barlow had got coffee and I had the K-cup in my hand, but I was like, I'll do tea time right. I'll try the tea, even though I'm probably not going to like this.
I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate the sacrifices.
All right, we're doing a live test here, so here we go.
Okay, that's honestly not terrible. That's.
I haven't made mine up yet.
Well,
I'm gonna let you finish.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna let you finish.
When you originally pulled the tea bag out, it actually smelled like rotten artichoke, and that was pretty disgusting. So I was very skeptical, but it doesn't taste anything like that, thank God. Mm-hmm. It's not quite as strong as the mint tea, which is, I'm thankful for that because I've had that on multiple occasions, and it literally tastes like Colgate.
You have a refined palate.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Just a little bit. And, you know, Cody's having a ball over there. It's definitely not as strong, which is nice.
I like it.
It's
I
good.
like it.
It's
This is strange.
It's not overpowering. It's actually kind of refreshing. And the lack of caffeine, it doesn't feel like you're going to crash in about 20 minutes. It's kind of nice.
I can't believe I'm going to say this.
Honestly.
I enjoy this. I might have this again.
Yeah, like I would.
Unbelievable.
Doesn't even need creamer or anything.
I'm flabbergasted. I found a tea I like, Greg. Tea time with Greg really changed my outlook on tea here.
Good word use.
Yeah.
Flabbergasted. Nice.
I've been trying to work some vocab in there if you haven't noticed.
Yeah, no, I definitely saw the wheels turning, just like trying to get that in there. Just throughout the entire podcast, you're like, what words can I jump in there? Just like kind of.
All right.
All right.
Tea time with Greg. Cheers.
In this episode, we're going to be talking about Thanksgiving. So,
yeah, so we have before and after because I never really had the celebration or the day Thanksgiving really. So I think my expectations are just that you, like the name saying that you try to give thanks and you're just celebrating that with a lot of food. Yeah.
What food are you most excited to try?
I think the turkey, because I heard something about white and black meat or something like that. And yeah, I never really had turkey, so just really? Like, I mean, never really baked like a big meal, just, yeah.
Okay, and how do you feel about American football?
It's interesting. I mean, I like it. I don't really understand everything, but I mean, maybe Thanksgiving is helping. It's helping me with that because I will see a lot of football. Right, in German now. Also ich glaube einfach, dass man halt ziemlich viel isst an Thanksgiving, um ja zu danken an diesem Tag und ja American Football. Ich verstehe es noch nicht ganz, aber vielleicht hilft mir Thanksgiving dabei und sonst bin ich gespannt, Turkey zu probieren.
This has been the United States of Yana. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Hi, welcome to Youthful Yackings with Indigo
and Ericka. So on today's segment, we are going to be talking about school lunches. When people go to school, they usually eat lunch. Why? Because some families can't afford to buy the extra groceries needed for their children's lunch.
So a lot of the research being done, we discovered that there was a 2009 investigation which concluded that school meat in America doesn't even meet the standards of fast food meats. Like, the thoughts on that is...
that is so gross.
Yeah, it's a little disturbing because fast food meat is pretty questionable. So
yeah. The study also showed that half the vegetables children ages 2 to 19 eat are French fries, which count as potatoes, but still.
Yeah, it's still being fried and salted and is covered in grease. So
yeah. I was always good at eating my vegetables. My sister really wasn't, but like she didn't just eat French fries. Like she had to eat vegetables too.
Right. I guess it's just how you're grown up. Especially I guess if people are just like on the move all the time, it's all they grab.
Yeah.
Still. So, although there was a statistic that showed from 2010 that school lunches have improved, they definitely still have a long way to go and need some improvement.
Oh, yeah. Most schools make sure their lunches have less salt, more whole grains, and more fruits and veggies. But with that comes processed food, which is a lot more unhealthy than actually just eating regular food with salt and regular grain.
Right, because it'll just show up in a bag and whatever it is, they just have to reheat it instead of like knowing what's in there.
Yeah.
Which a lot of things have to go in there to make it taste somewhat okay when you take the salt out, because that's a big part of food.
Mm-hmm. I think ever since they changed it, it started tasting like really gross.
Yeah, it's probably just like bland because everything's just the same.
Yeah.
And then the National School Lunch Program provides low-cost or free school lunches to 31 million students at more than 100,000 public and private schools per day.
Which is a lot better because some kids just really can't afford to eat food, let alone that might be their only meal that they eat for the day.
Right, and I think that program also in the city schools can send kids home with another meal or fruit for later in the day because some families literally can just barely afford to feed their families.
I've heard a lot about like schools that actually help not just with like food but with laundry and with with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I worked at the city schools for one summer and everything there was covered. Kids would bring their laundry in and their food and lunch boxes. You fill it up and go home, and it was really sweet. So our next topic is going to be the California wildfires, which started about 11 days ago.
I think I've recently heard about it because it was on like all over the news about how celebrity homes had been like destroyed.
Yeah, Caitlyn Jenner was the first one I heard, but I think the rest of them are fine. But obviously there's just more than those people and everybody's possessions gone.
It's the most destructive wildfire in California's history, with 77 people dead and almost 1,000 people missing in the last 11 days, which is kind of hard because it's like you're trying to get away from the fire and you also like can't contact your family.
Yeah, nobody knows where you are.
Because in this day and age, most people don't know numbers, like phone numbers. So if you lose your phone, you're kind of screwed.
Exactly. Like you can't just go to a little dial phone because you're screwed.
Yeah.
So about 150,000 acres have been scorched so far and has destroyed more than 11,000 homes, and that's everything inside them. Even the fireproof safes melted, gone. Nobody has anything left.
They put out a statistic saying that the fire won't be contained until around November 30th, and only 94% is contained. Which is good, but there's still that 6% that...
Yeah, that could just start right up again.
Yeah. But rain is expected to hit, so that should be really good. Help put out some fire.
Hopefully. So there has been help from the county, federal, and state government agencies. And one of the next steps to getting back to a normal way of living, but everything, of course, will not go back to normal since you can get another home, but you won't have your home and your valuables. And some people lost their pets and other people that they might have known, so it's always going to be remembered there. It's a really significant thing that happened there.
So our president, Donald Trump, put out a statement saying, "There is no reason for these massive, deadly, and costly wildfires in California except that forest management is so poor. Billions of dollars are given each year with so many lives lost, all because of gross mismanagement of the forest. Remedy now or no more Fed payments.
All I have to say to this is that if he is so aware that California's management is poor, why don't you step in and give a little kickstart to the state governments?
Yeah.
Like, cutting off their payments and cutting off their support now will not help them at all. You're just putting them into a deeper hole than they already are.
Yeah, and you can't say you're not going to help them because, listen, that is like a state, a part of our country.
It's a
like,
state
we
emergency.
need to help.
Yeah. That is his responsibility as president to make sure people are taken care of, and cutting off their payments won't help anybody in that situation. So
I agree.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you for listening to our segment on school lunches and the California wildfires.
This has been our 2 cents on current events. Thanks for listening.